Hello, welcome. My name is Jenny. This is Core and Restore. For class today, we'll probably use a couple props. So if you have a block or two, grab one of those. And if you don't have a block, you can use a book or a stack of books similar in this height. You can grab some pillows. We're going to be putting it in between the legs and squeezing, as well as using it on the ground to bring the ground a little closer. You can also, if you have an extra mat, you can roll it up like this, fold it in thirds, roll it up and tape it. It's another way that you can kind of create your own block at home. So, let's see. Hold up 1 second. We've got another guest. Oh, shoot, I don't have a mask. Welcome, I'm back. Take a moment to gather your props. You can also, so block or something that'll kind of bring the ground a little bit closer to you. And let's get started. So find a comfortable seat, whatever that looks like for you. You can sit cross-legged, you could use your prop. This is actually kind of a nice way to use the block or something where you can lift your booty up, especially if you have tighter hips or low back or hamstrings and you struggle finding a nice tall spine. And when you sit, it's kind of a nice way to sit with a little more integrity. So take as much time as you need to gather your things, to settle down. And then once you get into your comfortable seated position, just take some time to start to connect. You're welcome to close the eyes or take them to a soft gaze. Starting to acknowledge your breath. This beautiful process that's always there, happens automatically. There's a lot of power when we start to harness the breath. When we observe the breath, it helps to get us into our bodies, which in turn helps us to be more present. As you continue to observe the breath, we'll start to get a little more intentional with our breathing. So we want to draw it in and out of the nose for the most part. Sometimes when we get a little heat built up, it can feel nice to just send a nice big exhale out of the mouth. So know that that's always an option, but we want to work towards breathing through the nose. And then directing that breath all the way down towards the belly. Now, of course, you can't actually breathe into your belly, but what you can do is press the belly out, which helps the diaphragm to lower and creates more space for the lungs to expand. And then you can draw the belly in towards the spine and up towards the heart on the exhale to help press that air out. So working to take big, full belly breaths. Like a newborn, if you've ever watched a little baby breathe, they use their full belly. And as we age, as we mature, as the weight of the world starts to weigh down on us, we tend to shorten our breath, sometimes even holding it all together. So as you intentionally breathe in and out of the nose, deep down into the belly, we want to try to use the full capacity of our lungs with each breath. And then use that breath to connect to the body, to explore, to notice any areas that maybe need a little extra love or attention today, holding space for injuries, ailments, and also getting to know our bodies on a more intimate level so that we can cater our practice to be whatever our bodies need in that moment. And we also use the breath not only as a tool to help us stay present, but to connect our bodies to movement. So we'll start just to kind of start to get used to that, linking breath to movement. We'll release the arms down alongside the body. And on an inhale, just send the arms out to the side, start to raise them up towards the sky. We'll bring the hands together, and on exhale, bring prayer hands down towards your heart. Inhale, sending prayer hands back up towards the sky. And then exhale, separate the hands, bring them back down alongside the body. And this is where we'll repeat. So again, inhale, arms reach out as they raise up. You could even take the gaze up, little stretch for the neck. Exhale, prayer hands come down to heart center. Maybe the chin tucks down towards the chest. Inhale, prayer hands back up towards the sky, lengthening through the spine. And exhale, release the hands back down alongside the body. And one more like that. Inhale, arms out and up, using the full length of the inhale through the movement. Exhale, prayer hands down to heart center. And you can bring in that movement with the neck if you'd like. Inhale, prayer hands back up towards the sky. And exhale, release and back down alongside the body. We'll plant the hands, we'll walk the right fingertips away, then we'll inhale to swim the left fingers up and over. So getting a nice side stretch here. The knees are rooted, the sits bones are rooted, they're not lifting up, so we're staying nice and connected as we lengthen through the side body. If it's too much to have that arm reaching out, the arm can release down. Or you could bring in a little gentle rocking side to side, maybe wrapping the left shoulder onto the back. Feeling into this, taking a few deep breaths here. Getting a nice stretch for the obliques. Then as you feel ready, we'll inhale to come back up through center, just releasing the left hand down. And then the left hand will find the ground, fingertips walk away. Inhale, swim that right arm up and over. You can also bring in a block or some sort of prop here to bring the ground closer. And find that nice opening in the side body. Still grounded in the low body as you reach and stretch and open and breathe in the upper body. Continuing to connect to those deep belly breaths in and out of the nose. On your next inhale, we'll come back up through center, releasing the arms down alongside the body. Go ahead and remove any props you may be sitting on, uncross through the legs, and just shake them out. Get a little circulation going if you need. All right, now we're gonna practice with a little balance as we bring in some core work. So I've heard this one called galactic egg, kind of an interesting name, but it's kind of a preparation for boat. So we're gonna sit back on the sits bones. We wanna have some nice length in the spine, belly drawing in so the core is engaged. We're gonna walk the feet and the knees in towards the chest. And then we're gonna start to just rock back till we find that sweet spot on the sits bones where we can balance. Maybe you start to lift one foot at a time, maybe both feet lift. The hands can be used to continue to draw the knees in, or for a little extra challenge, you could release the arms. That really starts to activate your hip flexors here. So we're lengthening, we're balancing, and bring a little awareness to your pelvic floor, your mula bandha. You can squeeze those muscles of the perineum or lift through the pelvic floor to help draw that energy upwards. Fantastic work. Continue to breathe here as you lengthen through the spine. And if you want to take it into boat, you can start to raise the legs so that they're parallel to the ground. Now notice if that causes you to start to round out or fall back, then keep the heels drawing in. And again, the hands could be behind the knees or they could release. But we want that nice tall spine, core engaged, belly drawing in, ribs hugging in, and imagine a string is drawing your heart up towards the sky. Find your breath. Fantastic work. A few more rounds here. Nice static hold, building up that core strength and focusing on breathing. One more deep round of breath. Fantastic work. Now we're taking this all the way down to the ground. We've got some options. You can release the pose and just lie back. Or for a little more challenge, you can start to kick the legs out. Hands could come down to the ground for support, coming through a low boat. It's okay if you shake. Embrace the shake. And we're slowly gonna make our way onto our back. So your choice, how active or passive you wanna make this. And then from here, send the arms overhead, reach out through the legs, maybe roll out through the wrists and ankles, wiggle through the fingers, through the toes. And then with that same strength in the core, we're gonna draw the knees in towards the chest. And then we wanna locate either our block or cushion or something. This isn't necessary, but we're just gonna put it in between the legs and squeeze in. And that's just gonna give us a little more engagement. So you're gonna wanna put it as close to the root as possible. And then with a nice flat spine, we're gonna extend the legs up towards the sky, flex the toes back, and then squeeze in on the block. Awesome work. So we're just holding here at first, just to get this activation in the legs. Then, if you'd like, interlace the hands behind the head, opening up through the chest and the shoulders. And then we'll inhale to raise the head, neck, and shoulders up off the ground. So we're hovering here. If you want a little more, bring a little lift through the tailbone so that the hips are starting to raise up off the ground. Squeeze the block, toes flex back, continue to breathe. Our belly is still drawing down towards the spine. Core is fully engaged. Awesome work. Flex the toes, squeeze the block. Head continues to hover. On an inhale, maybe everything lifts just a little higher, and then exhale, release it all the way down. Awesome work. Release the feet. You can keep the block there, or you could remove the block. Maybe some windshield wipers side to side, or whatever would feel good to kind of reset. Now, even though we've been doing some static holds, a little slower pace, I'm building up heat. I'm definitely already sweating. And I can definitely feel that core. So hopefully you're getting a level of activity or engagement that works for you today. All right, so when you're ready, we're gonna come back to that squeeze block. We're gonna extend the legs up, once again, flexing the toes back. Hands interlaced behind the head, elbows open, chin lifts. Now squeeze in nice and tight, find that engagement, find the core here. Your choice if the head stays on the ground or raises up. And from here, we're gonna start to lower the heels down to whatever level works for you without the low back raising up. So finding your angle, squeeze the block, flex the toes back. Maybe it's just a little few degrees past 90. Maybe it's down towards 45. Maybe the heels are just hovering a couple inches above the ground. But what we're mostly focusing on is that engagement in the core and without that low back lifting. Squeeze the block, toes flex back, embrace the shake. Fantastic work. One more deep inhale. And on the exhale, go ahead and release. Awesome work. You can toss the block aside. And again, take any movements that would feel good here. Feel that heat in the body, that fire in the belly. Awesome. Once again, knees draw in towards the chest. We're going to bring a little rocking horse here. So we're going to rock up and down the length of the spine, kind of revisiting that cosmic egg, if you'd like, to challenge the balance here as you rock up. And if this doesn't feel good on the back, you can skip it. You can stay lying on the back with the legs extended up. And from here, we're going to come into a plank pose. So a fun way to transition with that is as you roll up, cross the ankles, plant the hands, hop or step the feet back to plank. And if that transition doesn't work for you, you can take your time, come to the knees, and work your way towards plank. Now with our plank, we want a solid connection down to the hands, spreading out through the fingers, and then kind of take some time to play with the placement of the hands. Common cue is directly underneath the shoulders. Not everyone's built that way. That's not gonna feel good for everyone. So maybe play with taking the hands a little wider. Maybe you play with the angle that you turn the fingers. Or just find what works for you. And kind of a way that you can gauge it is as you're standing in your own anatomical position with the hands facing forward, as you just raise the hands up and flip the palms, that's about the distance that your hands could be comfortably. And you can always lower the knees down to find half plank as you continue to build up core strength here. Awesome work. One more deep inhale. On the exhale, we're coming all the way down towards the belly. Point the toes. So we're pressing into the tops of the feet, and the arms are going to extend overhead. You're going to release the head down towards the ground. If that doesn't feel good on the neck, you could bring in a prop to rest the head. Now we're going to work the back side of the core here. So we're going to start just by raising the right foot up, lowering it down. Left foot up, lower it down. Just come up as high as feels okay without compromising the low back. So working a little bit of the glutes, the hamstrings, and the low back. Now if you want, we're going to start to add the arms, but opposite arms. So as the right leg lifts, left arm lifts. And lower. Left leg, right arm. And lower. So we're kind of swimming here. Again, just coming up as high as feels okay. We want the gaze towards the ground so that we're not cranking through the neck. You can even keep the head down towards the ground if you'd like. And if you want a little more challenge, you can hover the limbs instead of resting all the way down on the ground. Awesome. And we're going to do 10 more breaths. If you want to pick up the pace a little bit with me, we'll take it for a nice quick swim, or just continue with these lifts to whatever level feels right for you. If you want to kick it up just a little bit, we're going to go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release all the way down. You can turn the head to one side. You can place the arms wherever feels good. And maybe bring in a little shimmy in the hips. You could also bend the knees, take some windshield wipers. It's a nice release for the low back. Continue to find your breath. Maybe even feel your heartbeat in the ground. All right, when you're ready, we're going to re-extend through the feet. We're going to prop the toes this time. Hands underneath the shoulders, elbows drawing together. Well, I guess the hands don't have to be directly underneath the shoulders. We're pressing back up to our plank. So find that position for the hands that works good for you. Lengthen through the spine, engage in the core. When you're ready, press the ground away. Coming back up, reverse push-up into plank pose. Find your solid plank. Again, knees can lower down in half plank. Both build up that strength in the core. And if you have any wrist issues, you can always come down onto the forearms and take a forearm plank. All right, from here we're moving into side plank. So we're going to start to bring the weight into the right hand as we start to shift over towards the right, and the left arm reaches up. The right knee could drop down for a little extra support there. If the legs are extended, the feet could stack or they could stagger. And then we're bringing a nice lift in the obliques. We're lifting through that arch. Yeah, find your balance here. Find your breath. Now for the last 5 breaths, if you want a little bit more, we're going to bring in some hip dips. So inhale to lift the hips up. Exhale, lower the hip down towards the ground. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. 3 more. Inhale, lift, working those obliques. Exhale, lower. 1 or 2 more. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Last one. Inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Nice work. Release to plank. Lower the knees, send the hips back. Find a child's pose. Nice little rest between sides. The hips could come all the way back to the heels, or the hips could stay raised. Coming down into a puppy pose. And feel free to take any movements in your child's pose if you'd like. The arms could stay extended. They could reach back behind you. You could walk the hands side to side, little side stretch. Find your breath. Feel your body. Notice that there's probably some imbalance in the body just since we worked one side versus the other. Stay aware of that. Awesome work. And as you feel ready, we're going to come back up through hands and knees, find our plank, and we'll take it to the other side. So from plank, you're going to roll all the way into the left hand, right arm reaches up. You'd also take this from hands and knees, extending that right leg out, coming into a variation of side plank, and you can always come down onto the forearm if you'd like. We've got that lift in the side body, so we're lifting the ribs up towards the sky. And again, for the last 5 breaths, if you want, hip dips. Inhale to lift, exhale, lower. We're hovering the hips. Inhale, lift, exhale, lower, moving from the strength in the core. 3 more, inhale, lift, exhale, lower. 2 more, inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Last one, inhale, lift, exhale, lower. Nice work, come back through side plank. Release the right hand down. Your choice if you want to take a few rounds in child's pose or if you want to lift the hips, downward dog. We'll take about 5 rounds of breath here, so your choice if you're in child's pose, downward dog, connect to the breath. You can also take a break, grab some water, wipe the sweat that's dripping off your face if you're like me. Fantastic work. Okay, and as you feel ready, we're all going to meet up in our downward dog. And then take some time to feel into this first down dog. You can pedal through the feet. You can shake the head yes or no. And kind of pay attention to the hands, because it could be very similar position from your plank to your downward dog. And maybe it's not the traditional cues that you hear with, the shoulder width apart, because every body's built different. Our skeletal structures are different. There are lots of different variations in our bodies that can affect the way our poses look and feel. So there's not just one universal cue that fits every body. So I encourage you to explore your practice, explore this pose. Find what feels right in your body. All right, from downward dog, we're gonna inhale, extending that right leg up towards the sky. And on an exhale, we're gonna come forward through plank, and we'll eventually step the foot between the hands. Now, some people may not be able to do that. A lot of it is because of the skeletal structure. So you can always lower the knee down, you can lift the foot up, take your time to find that low lunge. Feel into it, and then as you feel ready, we'll inhale, raise up to a crescent lunge. So hands could come to the knee as you press up, or reach forward up and back, or fall out of the pose, that happens too. All right, we'll inhale to lengthen. On the exhale, we'll release the hands down. Now here, if you need, bring in a block to bring the ground closer, because we're gonna shift the weight forward, kick the back leg up, and then we're gonna step the left foot down to our forward fold. So this is where that block might come in handy again. You can bring the ground closer here, release the head, maybe shake the head yes or no. All right, from here, a little bit of core and glute strengthening. So block might come in handy, because what we're going to be doing is a little subtle shifting through the hips and then lifting the legs to each side. So we're going to lift the right foot, but we don't want to put all the weight into the left leg. So we're not shifting so much that the hips shift over. We're lifting and then extending that leg out to the side, just as high as feels good, and hold. Whew, this is a challenge. Keep the toes flexed. And embrace the shake. Awesome. On an inhale, maybe you lift that leg just a little higher, and exhale, lower it down. And we'll switch it to the other side. So we'll start to hover the left foot, again, not shifting too much in the hips, and then we'll start to extend that left leg out towards the sky, or out towards the side. Toes flexed. Again, doesn't matter if the toes are barely off the ground, doesn't matter if the leg is directly out parallel to the ground. Just find what works good. Find your activation, find your breath. Awesome work. One more deep inhale. Exhale, step it down. We'll just take it one more to each side now that you know what we're getting into. So starting to hover the right foot, toes flex back, and then send it out to the side and hold. So we're working on some balancing in that stabilizing leg, working on activation in that extended leg. Notice where you feel it. Find your breath. Notice what comes up for you in this pose. One last deep inhale, maybe that leg lifts just a little higher. Exhale, lower down. Awesome work, last one. Hovering that left foot, and then with the toes flexed back, sending it out to the side. Continue to breathe. Notice if you have a tendency to hold the breath when things get challenging. Something that yoga teaches us is how to breathe through challenging situations. Deep inhale, maybe lift just a little higher. Exhale, release it down. Awesome work. Take a few rounds of breath here, maybe pedaling through the feet, shifting through the hips. Definitely feeling those glutes. Awesome, fantastic work. Now to get out of this, we're gonna do the reverse of how we came into it. So we'll take an inhale to half lift. Just extending through the spine, little blood flow back to the brain. We'll exhale to fold it back in. And then we're gonna extend the right leg up, finding that three-legged split. And then we'll slowly start to step the foot back, finding low lunge. This time on the opposite leg, so the left foot's forward, right foot's back. As you feel nice and established in your base, inhale, raise up, crescent lunge. And hands could come to the knee. Hands could reach forward, up and back. Find your strength here. Beautiful work. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, release it down. Plant the hands, draw the foot back through plank pose. Awesome work. From plank, lift the hips, downward dog. Find your breath, maybe shake out through the head. As you feel ready on an inhale, we'll extend the left leg forward, up and back. It doesn't matter how high the leg is coming, but keep your toes active. Keep that leg active. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we'll step the foot between the hands. Take your time. Use the hand to bring that foot forward if you need. On an inhale, raise up, crescent lunge. Exhale, we're opening up to a warrior two. So the back heel's gonna pivot down as you open up the arms along the horizon. Fantastic work. Take some time to find your balance here. Really pressing into that front toe or into the front foot, front knee, front toes are tractioning forward as best they can. Nice work. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, we're gonna cartwheel the hands all the way down. Coming back through our nice low lunge. And then once again, we're gonna step forward, kicking the back leg up, and then stepping the right foot down to meet the left. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold it in. Awesome work. This round, we're gonna get a little stretch for the hips. So we'll just start to toe heel the feet out. Your feet will probably come off the mat, depending on the width of your mat. You want them a little bit wider than hip distance. And then just kind of take a little side to side movement or shaking the head, yes or no. Similar to what we were doing in our regular forward fold, now we've just got kind of a medium wide leg. All right, then from here, we're gonna turn toes out, heels stay in. And then we're gonna work to come down to a yogi squat. Bring in a block to bring the ground closer here if that would help. You could also bring in a block to lower the booty down. So nice and slow, we're gonna bend in the knees. Take your time as you lower the hips down. And maybe the hips just come down a little ways. Maybe they come down even further. And what we want to maintain is a nice flat back. So you can see whether we're here or if we drop the hips all the way down into Malasana, still got a nice flat spine. So you can be working with it here or anywhere in between. If you do want to bring in a block to come down into Malasana, feel free. That's another way to just bring in some support. And just like we did in our cosmic egg, find that engagement in the Mula Bandha. Lift the pelvic floor up. Nice work. Very nice opening in the hips, stretching through the glutes. Fantastic. And when you're ready with the hands on the ground, we're just going to slowly lift the hips back up. And then we'll start to toe heel the feet back towards each other. And then once again, coming out the way or opposite of the way we came in. We'll take an inhale to that half lift. Exhale, fold it in. This time we're gonna extend that left leg. Left leg up. And then slowly step it back, coming through that low lunge. Inhale, raise up, high crescent lunge. Exhale, open up, warrior two. Fantastic work here. You can even play with that Mula Bandha activation. We've got that opening in the legs. The lower body is grounding down, but that pelvic floor is lifting through the spine, lifting through the upper body. Awesome work. One more deep inhale, and exhale, we'll cartwheel the hands all the way down. Pivot the back heel up, foot comes through plank pose. This round, we're gonna lower all the way down to the belly. 3 rounds of cobra. So point the toes, press into the feet, activate through the legs. Inhale, start to lift the head and chest, shoulders draw together, come up as high as feels okay. Exhale, lower down. 2 more. Inhale, lift up. High as feels okay. Exhale, lower. Last one. Inhale, lift. And exhale, lower. Awesome work. Prop the toes, elbows draw together. On an exhale, press the ground away, come back up through plank. And downward dog. Nice work. A few more rounds of breath here. All right, I've got one last little bit of core work, playing with plank as well, and then we'll get into the restore part. So you can revisit any of the core work that we've already done, or if you want to take this one, it's a little bit more challenging. We're going to inhale to extend the right leg up, finding 3-legged dog. We'll inhale to lengthen. On an exhale, we'll come forward through plank, knee towards the nose. It will hover here. Now this can be a challenge if you want to stay here, Or we're gonna kick that right leg out towards the left. The foot can come to the ground, coming into a fallen triangle pose. Now you can stay here with both hands on the ground, or take that side plank variation with the left arm extending up. And to take this a little further, if you want it, you can hover that right foot, or you can pulse the leg. That's getting those obliques, strengthening the arms through the plank. Nice work. We're still lifting through the hips. Nice, one more deep round of breath. And then we'll make our way out, however that works for you. Coming back through our three-legged dog. And then we'll step the right foot down to meet the left. Take some time, reset. It's the only thing we're doing on the other side. So as you feel ready, we'll inhale to extend the left leg up towards the sky. One round of breath there. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale, come forward through plank. Knee towards the nose, heel towards the glute. And maybe you stay here. Perhaps you kick that foot out to the side, finding fallen triangle. Both hands can stay on the ground, or you could extend the right arm up, finding another side plank variation. And for a little extra, if you want it, you can start to hover that foot or pulse it. Finding your level, finding your activation, honoring your body. Awesome work. One more deep inhale. Exhale, release. Come back through plank pose. Lift the hips. Downward dog. And then as you feel ready, lowering to the knees, take a child's pose. Oh, feel your body. Find your breath. Nice work. As you feel ready, we'll just walk the hands back, coming up into a hero's pose. For our first kind of restore part, we want to use props in a way to where we can get a nice side stretch. So we're going to come onto the right side of the hip, and then whatever prop configuration you come up with, we want it to hit at basically the waistline as you come over, and you can lie down and just get a nice side stretch. So you can use blankets, you can use some cushions, you're gonna use a rolled up mat. If you have a bolster, that will work really well. And as you're draping over, the right arm could extend and you could rest the head on the right bicep. You could bring in a pillow or a block for the head, or you could release it all the way down. Hips are stacked, but the knees can kind of be doing what feels good for you. The knees could be drawing in towards the chest. You could extend the legs out. But really what we're looking for is this lift in the right side of the ribs, so we can get this nice stretch through the left side body. Left arm could reach up and overhead if you'd like, or you could kind of play maybe with some shoulder circles, or you could rest down in front of the face. Breathe into this nice opening in the side. Hopefully this feels good after some of the oblique work that we did. Starting to feel the body cool down. And as we slow down, I know this has been a slower paced practice, but as we continue to slow down, it's sometimes easier for the mind to start to wander. If the body's not as active, then the mind puts the body on autopilot and then is free to go exploring the past or projecting into the future and pulling us out of our present moment. So it can be a challenge as you start to slow down near the end of your practice to stay present. Just find those tools, find the breath, find the sensation in the body, find some sort of anchor that can help keep you present. The mind will wander, random thoughts will pop in. That's human nature.
The idea is to be able to notice those, not try to force them away or get upset at ourselves when random thoughts pop in, but to just kind of curiously hold space for them and then let them go. Awesome, just a few more rounds of breath here. And as you feel ready, we're just going to switch it out to the other side. So your choice how you want to make this transition. You can just flip-flop over onto the other side, or you could press your way back up. Take your time to switch sides. We're going to set up that nice oblique stretch for the right side of the body, so laying the left waistline over some configuration of props. And again, your choice, what happens with the arms. You could rest the head on the left bicep. Right arm could reach overhead. The arms could just kind of chill. You could bring in a pillow or cushions for the head. Find whatever works on the knees for the position of the legs. And finding your breath, finding your anchors. And for those of you practicing at home, there can often be a lot of distractions, noises, or other people's energy that can pull us away from our practice. And don't try to fight those. Don't resist those things, those potential distractions. Allow them to be a part of the process, to be a part of your experience without pulling you away from that experience. A few more rounds of breath on this side. And as you feel ready, just slowly starting to make your way out of the pose, however you'd like to do that. And if you want to take any movements, anything that would feel good here, feel free. Maybe coming onto the seat, taking some windshield wipers, or maybe some seated cat-cow, or coming onto the knees and taking cat-cow, just feeling into the body, moving it in any way that feels good for you. And when you feel ready, the next pose we'll set up is going to be a nice stretch for the chest and the shoulders, and then if you want to work a little bit of arching, a little bit of back bending, you're welcome to. So it's going to be your choice how you choose to support this, how you choose to set this up. So one way that you can do it, well, we're going to be lying back onto a prop. So one way, if you want to just kind of stretch through the upper body, maybe through the chest, is having a prop that just comes right at the shoulder blades. And then as you lie back, you see that this brings an opening in the mid part of the back, the thoracic spine, as well as through the chest, lowering the head down. So this is kind of a supported fish pose. Legs can be doing whatever feels right for you. This could be a little intense, but if you're still wanting to get this chest opening, you could bring in a rolled up mat or a blanket. Cushions or bolsters work really well. And having a little more length there supports the full length of the spine. So that as you roll back, the arch is a little bit more in the low back, but then you're still getting this opening in the chest as the shoulders are allowed to drop down and back. So your choice what variation you want to take there, where you want to bring in the support. And then the legs can extend straight. You could bring them into cobbler's pose, bottoms of the feet touching, knees dropping open. Or you can plant the feet, knees bent, and knees resting on themselves. Arms can be alongside the body. They could be out in a T, in a goal post. They could reach overhead. Releasing through the whole front side of the body, opening up through the belly, through the chest, through the heart. Working with some form of spinal flexion, whether that's subtle arching in the low back and in the neck, or if it's a little more extreme of an arch. However you have it set up, as long as it feels right for you, as long as you can still find your deep belly breaths, as long as you don't feel like you have to hold tension in the body so that you don't go too deep and injure yourself. We want to be able to release around the props. We want to have the props and the earth hold us up, not our muscles. We want to be able to fully release. And if you've gotten yourself in a position where a full release will take you too deep into your pose and could potentially cause harm or injury, and that's where I'd like you to make some adjustments so that you're not forcing the body further than it should go. Yoga helps us to identify our comfort zone and then ways to push that zone out gradually, a little further, a little further, a little further. We don't want to push it so far that we cause any injury or any harm or any trauma that makes us not want to come back to our yoga practice. Notice what's happening in the face. Notice if you're clenching your jaw or pressing your tongue to the roof of your mouth. Notice if you're furrowing the brow or squeezing through the eyes. Notice if you can soften. A few more rounds of breath here. And whenever you feel ready to come out, we'll come back up to a seat. So you're welcome to roll onto one side of the body and press yourself up. Or if you want to come up through kind of a sit-up, it's a nice option to bring the hands to the back of the head to offer the neck some support as you come up. And then just for some counter stretching, we're going to take a forward fold. Your choice, if you want to have the legs extended, you could open them up. You could even bring them into cobbler's pose. So your choice, what you want the legs to be doing. But we want to find a solid connection to the sits bones, nice and grounded through the hips. And that can also include lifting the booty up on a blanket, on a prop of some sort. Again, just like in the beginning, if you have a tendency to have tighter hips or low back or hamstrings, that can just help you to get that straight spine so you can come into your forward fold a little more aligned. So you want to find that connection, lengthen up whatever's happening with the legs, and then we're just going to start to bow the chest forward. Hands could reach up if you want, or they could just kind of start to walk forward. And if the legs are straight in front of you or open, you can soften through the knees. You can bend them as much as you want to bring the chest lower, but nothing forceful here. What I don't want is you to grab the legs, the feet, and pull yourself down. And if you'd like, you could start to tuck the chin in towards the chest, lowering the head down, really looking to get some nice length through the low back, into the hips and the glutes, nice stretch for the mid-back, and a release for the head, neck, and shoulders. Plus whatever sensation you're getting with the choice of your leg setup. Maybe it's an opening in the hips, maybe it's some stretching through the hamstrings, maybe it's stretching through the inner thighs. Or just notice how the body feels. Notice anything that arises for you. Notice where you can soften. Notice if you're tensing up in the shoulders, or if the shoulders are riding up by the ears. Maybe notice the breath in the back side of the body. Breathing into the back of the lungs. Excuse me. Feeling the expansion of the back ribs. As you continue to take those deep belly breaths, maybe the belly is pressing against some sort, one of your body parts, maybe down on the legs. Just find whatever sensation, some sort of connection to the body, to the breath, to the mind that can help keep you present. Just a couple more rounds of breath here. And as you feel ready to come out, take your time, but if the hands can reach the ground, you can use the hands to walk back, slowly rolling up one vertebrae at a time, no rush. And then once again, feel free to take any movements, any counter stretches, anything that would feel good in the body. And we're gonna start a transition towards our Shavasana, or our final relaxation. But we do have some time, so if you want to explore any final movements, anything that we didn't get to, anything that the body's craving, maybe there's a twist or some neck work or something with the shoulders. We didn't do too much there aside from the strengthening, but take your time. Feel into your body, honor your practice. And then whenever you're ready to set up your final relaxation pose, whatever it looks like for you, continue to check in. It could be, traditional corpse pose on the back, toes out, palms up. But if that doesn't feel awesome for the body today, you can lie on the side, you could lie on your belly. You can come to a seated meditation. Some people find it odd that I offer different Shavasanas, but I believe in honoring the body. And if lying down on the back isn't right for your body today, don't do it.
I like to give plenty of options so that you have choices. You have ways to explore your own practice. Because how a pose works for my body and feels in my body is different than everyone else. So as I said at the beginning, not one cue is a universal cue for every body. And it's easy as a student to get caught up in having to do everything that the teacher says, having to take every single challenging option, having to force ourselves into these standards of poses. And for me, yoga, we should never try to fit into the yoga box. Yoga, we can create our own yoga box. We can get outside of the yoga box. Yoga is such a personal practice that it should be catered to our personal bodies. So listen to your body and give it what it needs. Give it what it's asking for. And when you find that position, allow yourself to surrender to it. To allow the body to find peace in this stillness, to feel held and supported in this space. To allow the breath to flow freely and naturally without any control. To curiously observe the mind, maybe noticing any effects of your final or any effects of your practice on the body, on the mind. Take this time to just be. If you do have more time to dedicate to your Shavasana, I would encourage taking at least 5 minutes, upwards of 20, to continue to honor yourself in this space and to give yourself this opportunity to just be. As you feel ready, before we start to move again, just take a moment to check in. Similar to the beginning of class, just observing, no judgment, no expectations. Just observing, honoring, recognizing. As you begin to feel ready, just gently bring some movement back into the body. If you're lying down, slowly rolling onto one side of the body. And as you feel ready, gently making your way back up to a comfortable seat. Releasing the arms alongside the body, starting the way or ending the way we started. Inhale, send the arms out to the side, raise them up towards the sky. Let the hands come to prayer. On an exhale, lower prayer hands to heart center. Tuck the chin down towards the chest and just take a moment to offer yourself some gratitude for carving out this time, for stepping on your mat, and for putting in the work to move, breathe, and connect. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. I see you, I honor you, and I bow to you. Namaste.